I am the Ultimate Warrior, and this will be the ultimate wrestling figure review of all time. Hola amigos, it's Will here from Will's Custom Figures, coming at you today with a big bad breakdown of the one, the only local UK independent wrestler, Riley, aka Landon Wolf. So please guys, sit back and relax while I talk you through why and how I made this guy and everything else in between. So firstly, let's start with why. Well, his mum, what an absolute legend. Her name is Kerry. She reached out to me. She wanted to surprise her son, and oh my God, was I happy to oblige. I'm so pleased that this figure is finally done. I've spent a lot of time and effort. Hopefully you can notice that by looking at all the details. None of that is decals, guys. That's all hand painted on there and customized to specific specifications by his mum. But at the same time, Landon was actually going to reach out to me. Funny story, his mum said to me, if he reaches out to you, just say you're busy, so you can't make it, because she'd already commissioned me, bless her heart, to work on this piece for her. So thank you very much. Now, Landon is just 16 years old and he's already been tearing it up on the UK wrestling scene. Here is a picture of Chris Jericho with Landon Wolf next to him. I'm pretty sure it was a Chris Jericho or a Finn Balor body. I can't remember now off the top of my head. Just filming this video, but it was one of those two that I used. I was digging around in my son's wrestling figures, and this is the Chris Jericho and the Randy Orton that I was able to find out, just to do as a bit of a comparison for some local wrestler, from a local wrestler to some WWE elite wrestlers. And here is another one next to, of course, the Hall of Famer, the legend himself, the Ultimate Warrior. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move Warrior over and I'm put Landon next to Jericho. So I'm not sure if it is a Jericho base or if it is a Finn. I can't remember off the top of my head. However, looking at these two together, how cool is that? You can see how I've transitioned the t-shirt. I've added a lot of clay on there around the neck to make sure that he has his vest on that he always wears. I'm going to zoom in a minute, give you a lot of details onto that, but that was a challenging design to paint. He's got the kick pads, he's got the knee pads. Also, interesting fact, I had to cut holes at the back of the knee pads. Don't know if you can see there. Oh, by Jericho. Jericho and Finn all have normal knee pads, whereas I had to cut the holes here because Landon's knee pads are all slightly different with the hole there. And here we go. School photo time, Landon. Smile. No, that is not a smiling wrestler. That is an angry, mean wrestler. But here you go. So the head has actually been casted. It was originally made with clay. So I don't know if you can see here, this is the original clay head sculpt, and I'm going to be putting this in the post for Landon and his mum and so forth to have if they want and do what they want with. You can see the hole there. Just make a rough hole and then I drill it out with a Dremel drill later on. But normally I would just attach that head on there and it wouldn't move on the peg. However, on this occasion, I take a silicone mold of it and then I cast it out of resin. So that means instead of the head just being static, the head can move, as you can see. So no 3D printing technology or any of that rubbish around here. I think it's amazing. I've used it in the past, but no, with this one, as you can see, and all the different lights, I'm really happy. Just some old-fashioned clay sculpting and yeah, a nice paint job. Now, onto the Landon Wolf logo. Whoa, man, that is a design. What a badass creator, whoever made that symbol and that logo. And yeah, I hated that person when I was having to paint it, but still, it's very cool. He's got the stripes on the back. Very similar, the claw marks, similar to like a Chris Benoit back in the day and his outfit. Now, these, I believe these wrestling tights were off Sheen, is more mentioned, but absolutely badass. Look at the design on them with all the black marks and all the beautiful blood red. Same as with the wristbands as well. Nice blood red there. And also, I don't know where he's got these from or if he's designed them himself, but the kick pads have like little blood splatters all over it. Absolutely badass. And a lovely detail there that I just had to get in. Now, if we go to the back, as I mentioned, I cut the holes in the knee pads. Also, you've got the two little Adidas logos there. Hopefully you guys like all the little touches. That's what those custom figures and I really do pride myself on. when I make any custom. Now, just a small detail onto the hair. After I'd casted the head, you can see where the parting is, there is no little hair strands coming down. So I wanted to actually use Procreate, and I used Procreate Putty to have a couple of little hair strands, sorry for the rocky camera, that come off there. It's just 2 or 3, and that's so when it's playing with it, if they move around, Procreate Putty doesn't snap off instantly like it would if it was made out of clay. I think it's a nice little detail, and I really, really enjoyed working on the smaller little details of this figure. Even just where does the wolf sit versus the rest of the logo. Because if the wolf sat up too high or too low, you wouldn't have been able to see the eyes, or it would have obscured where the torso breaks in the Elite Wrestling figure. So I'm very, very happy with how it's turned out. And here we go, back with you and this video of Landon Wolf. Now, just onto the paint job. Interesting technique I used on this one. I actually matched the face colour and the skin there to the Jericho or Finn Balor, as I mentioned, I can't remember which one it was, to that body. And the reason I did that is because he really wants to play with a figure. Now, most of my figures I will completely hand paint. And the reason for that is just because my customers generally will want them as a display piece. However, it was very specific that Landon's going to be using this, he's going to be posing it, he's going to be moving it around lots. And I wanted to make sure that I took the time and the effort to really try and match that paint colour with the face. Hopefully you think I've done a good job. It was the Citadel Kieselev flesh. I can never say that word, still to this day. However, that was the paints that I used in making this video and making this figure. And I really think that it's matched well. Like, if you look at it up close in person, you can use a magnifying glass, it pretty much matches. Now, I had to add lots and lots of whites in there, lots and lots of different pale pinks and different shades and so forth. But I think I've pretty much matched that Mattel Wrestling figure body colour, and I'm very, very happy with it. Now, just a little bit about Landon before I bring the video to a close. He wrestles in Essex. He was 13 years old when he started wrestling. I've seen pictures of him, and he looks so confident in his wrestling attire, and in there in the squared circle. I started wrestling at 14 when I was attempting to become a professional wrestler back in the day. I'm 36 now, so it's been a very, very long road, and oh my god, I can't even imagine what I would have done to have had my very own custom wrestling figure made of me. But do you know what? These are the projects I love working on more than anything. Landon's mum and Landon himself wanted to get this, and I'm sure this will be his first of many figures. If he carries on the road that he's going on, this will be the first of many wrestling figures for all the great wrestling talent that comes out of the UK at the moment, and especially from in the Essex area. I think that Landon has an extremely bright future ahead of him once he completes his, education at school and everything else, whatever he goes on to do as a career. I think that wrestling and being a professional wrestler is definitely within his sights. My final thoughts, guys, I wish I could remember which base figure I used, but I can't, and it's going to happen sometimes. I've worked on probably about 30 different customs this year. However, I've loved immortalising Landon in action figure wrestling form, and I really, really can't wait for him to get it in hand. I'm going to get this in the post now. I'm going to get the head sculpt. Hopefully you like seeing that in the post now. And if you guys need any advice on how to create a head out of clay, how to make your own custom figure, if you want a custom figure of your own, just please feel free to reach out. If you want a simple one made of clay, or if you want a little bit more complicated, like the Landon Wolf one where the head moves and, it can articulate a little bit more, just please feel free to reach out to me, guys. I have loved working on this. I would give this an absolute 10 out of 10 myself personally. The amount of hours I've spent on all the small details, I know Landon and his mum are very, very happy with that. So other than that, guys, please follow me on Facebook, Instagram, or here on YouTube. Now for just over 9 minutes, I appreciate you guys watching, and I will see you all on the next one. Adios from a future WWE champion.